So, you told me you have an issue with your friend Jenny? Can you remind me what her problem is?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? Jenny and I first met in high school. She always seemed to be the kind of person that wasn't afraid to say what she thought.
Like, do you mean she was tactless? Or just assertive?
No, but she said whatever it was that she felt. And at a time when you're younger and sometimes uncertain about what people thought of you, it was rather refreshing to see someone state things so explicitly.
So, you're saying that she was bold, is that it? And you thought that she was rather assertive, and that she was fierce, but not necessarily that her behavior was positive. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, she was assertive and didn't apologize for it. But the more I got to know her, I realized that there was something very odd about her.
What do you mean there was something odd about her?
Well, she was loud and often self-deprecating. It was kind of funny at the time, but looking back, ultimately what it was all about was that she wanted an audience, and she wanted to perform. She was always putting on a show, and I think the reason for that was she was probably insecure, and if she could say something funny or make people laugh, it would detract from the things that she was actually insecure about.
So, this was fun in the beginning, but based on what you're saying, it turned out that it wasn't so fun. You must have seen some weird things. There must have been situations where it wasn't so fun, or that this kind of personality kind of hurt you or made you feel awkward sometimes.
I didn't feel awkward, and she never hurt me. She was just weird. I remember one time we were out at dinner, and she started making these gestures. She was indicating that she was having some kind of reaction to something she was eating. She would subsequently say she had such and such a condition. In other words, she was really playing it up. My other friend and I would just look at each other and roll our eyes. Eventually, we got to learn that if there was an illness, if there was a condition, if there was a sickness, if there was an allergy to something, she had it. She had it all, and these were things I had never even heard of. And I think when I look back, it seemed like it was something that she used to set herself apart from other people and to make herself memorable in some way. I think she did this because ultimately, that's what she really wanted. She wanted to stand out and she wanted people to know about her. And this was a way to do it.
It sounds like she wanted to be the center of attention. But you didn't know that at first, did you?
No, but in hindsight, she definitely wanted to be the center of attention. She would ask rhetorical questions, almost like a comedian, performing. She would be self-deprecating. She would laugh at herself, but she would also just be loud in general, and she would attract attention because she was loud. As I look back at it, I realized that her behavior wasn't normal, and certainly not for a teenager.
But you didn't realize that at the time?
I had no idea.
So, when exactly did you come to this realization that this was something disturbing in terms of her personality?
I'd say a good 20 years after high school when we reconnected on social media. I realized then how odd she was, but I could understand it a little better. I had a name for it now because I was older and wiser with more experience.
You said she complained about every different kind of ailment. At the time, was she frequently in hospitals?
I don't know how frequent her visits were, but I did notice that when she did have some sort of affliction, she would end up in the hospital and she would go to the emergency department on a regular basis. I would say not a period. A period of 2 months might go by in between visits, but she always ended up in the emergency room for something. Maybe she slipped and fell. Maybe she had unexplained pain. Maybe she needed a refill on a prescription and couldn't see her doctor. All kinds of things. And individually, each of those things might seem very innocuous, but when you see her at the hospital constantly, and when she posts about it on social media, and then she videotapes herself in the waiting room and gets on her soapbox about how good or how bad the situation is, or how good or how bad healthcare is, and all the different services she needs or requires or takes advantage of, then you really realize that there's something not right, and she's not a normal person.
So, now that we're in the modern age and you see her post on social media, what are you seeing now? Because it must be different from when you were younger.
Yes, she's very prolific on social media. She has lots to say to about everything and about everyone. But it's kind of sad at the end of the day, because it's clear that she uses these strangers that she talks to online in place of real friends. She doesn't have any close friends that she can rely on, and she considers her online followers, people that are essentially strangers, her friends. They know about her life, they know about her trials and tribulations, they know all about her illnesses, and they're the ones that she turns to for help. She has family who live in the same city that she does. But I think her family is so fed up with her behavior, they just don't engage with her the way that you would expect family to behave. They're not there for her the way you think they should be, and she relies on strangers for things.
So, what kinds of things does she rely on strangers for?
Well, she recently had surgery and needed a ride home from the hospital. Instead of arranging for a family member to pick her up, she posted the question out to her followers on social media, fully expecting somebody to jump up, a complete stranger no less, to jump up and drive her home from the hospital.
And do you know the outcome of that?
I don't. But the fact of the matter is, if I had surgery, I wouldn't want a stranger from the internet to come and pick me up. I'd want either my spouse, a sibling, or my parents to come and get me. She's not in a position to ask her spouse because she doesn't have a partner, so I suppose she had to look elsewhere.
Do you think this personality is part of the reason she doesn't have a partner?
Definitely. I think that people may be attracted to her quirkiness at the outset, but once they get to know her, their feelings change, and I think that just is exactly why she doesn't have a partner or significant other.
You said earlier that now you know what it's called, or now you have a name for this. What kind of affliction do you think she has?
I'm not an expert, but I imagine she's got some kind of narcissism, and I don't know what else.
You know, there's something called malingering where people pretend to be ill to get attention. Do you think she has something like this? I guess it could be thought of as a kind of narcissism.
It's possible. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say, but I don't think it's realistic for somebody to have so many different health problems and so many challenges all at the same time. There's always something wrong with her, and it just seems statistically impossible. I also think that when she does have a health challenge, whether it's made up or something legitimate, she looks to her social media following for support, comfort, and help because she has no one else.
So, in terms of the impact this has had on her life, and the fact that she posts on social media, you told me recently that she lost her job, and this is quite serious being an adult and losing your income. Do you think her personality is responsible for this? For her current situation? Because it seems to be quite dire now.
I'm pretty sure her personality had something to do with her dismissal. You can't be direct, assertive, bold, and be a know-it-all, and not have it come back to haunt you in some way.
So how do you think her coworkers felt while she was working with them, knowing what you know about her? What do you think she did at work to maybe spoil the situation? For example, we all go to meetings. We hang out with each other. You have lunches, you talk about what went on over the weekend, and sometimes there's power struggles. So, do you think in this situation her coworkers liked her, or they didn't like her? Or were her supervisors fond of her? Do you think they were even afraid of her? Do you think maybe with her personality she was threatening in any way?
I think as a new employee, people probably thought she was fun and enjoyed her, but the more they experienced her, the more they saw, and the more they possibly began to dislike her.
You mentioned that she was always sick when she was younger, or often pretended to be sick. Do you think she was frequently absent, or known for the same thing at work?
Definitely. She had surgery that required a long period of time to recuperate. And I understand, based on her social media posts, that she was out of benefits. She would have to return to work before she thought she was physically ready.
Wow, I seem to recall that you said she even begged for money and for food while she was recuperating.
The surgery she had was elective surgery and wasn't covered by her healthcare plan. She had to pay for it out of pocket. So she created a GoFundMe, or something similar, to solicit donations to go towards her surgery cost. She wasn't very mobile as she healed, so cooking was difficult, and she blatantly requested that if people wanted to help, they could send Skip the Dishes or DoorDash gift cards to her.
And now she's lost her job. Is she also begging for money now to survive the situation?
She did post about being afraid that her benefits would run out before she got another job. At first it was a bit innocuous, but now that she is in danger of losing her home, she is posting on social media soliciting donations to help her pay her bills, and in the meantime has moved in with her parents and is listing her home for sale.
This is all very interesting, and these kinds of people live and work all around us. What do you think is going to happen after this situation passes, given what you know about Jenny?
I think that she will stay with her parents, be forced to sell her home, and eventually get a new job. But it's going to take some time. The funny thing is, I understand, again from social media, that she received a severance package and then went on unemployment insurance. Instead of utilizing her money wisely in the early days of her layoff, she continued to live her life in a normal manner, buying all the treats she wanted, all the specialty coffees, the things that she wanted for her house, clothes, container planters for the new gardening season without a thought as to what would happen in the future. So, she certainly didn't plan ahead, and she didn't have a contingency plan for a situation like this. Despite the fact that she had a good job, I'm pretty sure she was living paycheck to paycheck.
Wow, so she didn't spare herself anything, even though she was facing certain hardship?
Definitely not. She always posted about her daily Starbucks coffees, and it wasn't just a regular brewed coffee. Every day, it was a specialty fancy drink. I calculate that up to be about $10 a day. So that would be $50 a week, about $2,500 a year. That's a lot of money for coffee.
Well, thanks for sharing the story of your friend Jenny. I'm not sure if she's a malingering or if she's narcissistic, but she definitely has an odd personality. I hope everything works out for everyone involved.